Welcome to Moments with Marin. I'm Marin, and this is Brady. I have Brady here with us today, and let me scooch this a little bit over so you can see him better. But we are here today on Moments with Marin to do a musical Moments with Marin, I like to call them. And Brady has graciously come on to just show us and give us a little lesson. But first, since this is his first time on Moments with Marin, I just want to give a little introduction and just have him tell us a little bit about himself, 3 fun facts or whatever you want to share.
That's right. You gave me a fair warning, but I didn't put too much thought into it. But, fun fact, I can give myself goosebumps on command.
What?
Yep.
Now you gotta show it.
You'll have to ask me in person sometime.
Sunday.
I'm cold right now, that's why I'm wearing a jacket. Another fun fact is I only have 3 cousins total.
Wow.
So, very small family. Another fun fact is I just moved this year into a new place. So
Nice.
yeah.
Where at?
In Wilmer, kind
Nice.
of just outside of town a little bit.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna hop into a little musical lesson.
Sure.
So I'll pull up I had to borrow one today, but thanks to Daedry. Yeah.
So, from my understanding, you've learned the capo,
Yes.
this thing.
Yep.
And the different voices, as Daedry likes to call them. And then you learned the hammer-ons and the hammer-on.
Yep. A little bit.
So, I can teach you a little bit about different chord formations, and I don't know a ton about music theory, so I'm going to get torn apart by people that actually know what they're called.
Yeah.
I'm from a musical family, so a lot of the time I go by ear and what sounds, good. But when you're leading worship, there's many opportunities you're playing chords, so you want to add to it. So when Daedry is playing just chords, I like to try to contrast from what she's doing, so we don't just have a bunch of mashing chords, so it complements each other. So if you were to play like a C chord.
This one?
Yep.
So, kind of if anybody doesn't know what a C chord is, how would you describe it?
Well, there's the easy thing about guitar. It seems like it'd be really hard to learn, but if you were to learn like 3 chords, some of the basic chords, C is one of those, G and D. If you learn those 3 chords, you could play hundreds of songs if you played in that key. So it takes a little time getting used to it. If I was to give a guitar lesson, you want to use your thumb a lot to push the weight on there, and your fingers are gonna hurt. You're gonna develop calluses on your finger. I guess I can't really describe too much of it. You're just stretching your fingers out in this position right here.
Right.
But you're only using 3 fingers. These 3 right here. And when I'm leading into something, oftentimes when it's just holding a C chord for a while, I like to try to make it a little bit more interesting, and you can actually remove a finger. So if you removed your middle finger after playing 1 C of strum, and then adding your pinky right there, yep. Now there is a technical term for this chord, I don't know what it is. It might be a C suspended, because that's what the other ones are called. So if I'm leading from like a verse into like a chorus or something that's really building it, I'll drive the quarter notes on it and then play something. So instead of just like, so I don't know, just
You make that look really easy.
it's not me getting bored. It's just fun to when you're playing the same chords over and over and over, just to add something to it.
Yeah.
So with that, C.
So where's your... Just to kind of describe to people who are just... Where is your finger placement right now for the C one? Like what is this called? Where you're placing your finger here?
Oh, so these are frets. So it's on the first fret on the... And this is how bad I am at a B string. And then... And actually, if you're looking at guitar lessons, they have a chart that says what your finger are. Now, you don't count your thumb as a finger, so this would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. So your pointer finger would be 1, which would be on the B string on the 1st fret.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the D string, which is kind of in the middle, your middle finger would be on the D string on the 2nd fret.
Okay.
And then your index or ring finger would be 3rd fret on the A string.
All right.
And you got a C chord.
Woo.
Now there are different ways of playing a C chord too. There's a C, 2. So it sounds a little bit different, but if you were to play that chord, it sounds a little different. So usually the sheet music will instruct that. You can play bar chords as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple different ways of doing it. Now if you were to play a D chord,
so it's pointer finger on the 4th string in the 2nd fret.
yeah,
And then middle finger on the last string in the 2nd
yep,
fret.
the E string, the high E.
And then the 3rd finger on the...
Yeah, I always like to say that's kind of in between them. There's a string gap in between these 2 fingers.
Yeah.
And then that goes 3rd fret on the, was it the B string or the...
Yeah,
the B string. Alright, so that's a D chord. You can look it up too, and there's helpful hints. If you're confused of what, when you're looking at the sheet music, it has 6 lines, which resembles all the strings, and then they have 1, 2, or whatever on the string. That means either there's some that show what finger you're supposed to press down on that fret, but a lot of times it's saying if there's a 2, that means 2nd fret for that finger. So, so you got a D chord, and the same thing can be done to that. Or if you release your middle finger and play that, that's a D2. And then if you were to put it back on, you're back to the D. And then you have the D sus, which is adding your pinky.
Right here? Or right here?
Yeah, it's right. Actually, the E string right behind it.
Okay.
On the high E string.
On the 3rd.
So if you were to do that in like a, and you don't really have to do, a lot of times I like to do, or just kind of like, just leading into it. So, yeah, there's a couple different things you can do.
Do you use this in Here I Am to Worship?
That chord?
Yeah.
Depending on the key you do.
Kind of sound like it.
Darkness. So yeah, and a lot of the time when you're playing worship music, you just kind of get when you play it so much in different keys, you just kind of hear the chords eventually. Like I don't know what a lot of them are called when I first started. I actually started, the first song I ever learned was Time of Your Life by Green Day. If you've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's way before your time, but I was amazed by the simple fact that you could play a chord such as the G chord, and a little plucking lesson. When you're playing the G chord, there's strings that can all be played with different sounds within that chord. So if you're holding that, you can play so more side in the worship part of it, a song like that I think of as like Holy Spirit, where you're playing the D chord, where it's like arpeggio kind of stuff, like Holy Spirit, you are welcome. So you can find different chords or different notes within the chord. So if you're just plucking around, you can find some really cool things. There also is a chord, the holy chord called the Jesus.
Jesus.
See what I did there? Oops.
How do you do that?
So you get the G.
Like this, right? G.
Actually, it would be this, I believe.
So then this, where's this?
So Usually, do you play with your pointer down here?
Right here.
Yeah, so that one actually travels up a ways. It's on the first fret up here. Yeah, try that.
And then.
Yeah, you got it.
Woo! That's a stretch. Obviously, I left.
Jesus.
Jesus.
So yeah, you can play a bunch of different chords.
Yeah.
When you're doing it, you just want to find out what can add to the work. If you're playing worship music, and you're just the lead person, the rhythm player, you're gonna want to play chords and not get too far away from it. But if I was just to play a G, C, D progression with some of those things that I'm adding, it would sound kind of like. So if you're just strumming. And there's another lesson that can be taught through different strum patterns. Then you can add a little bit more complexity to it. So yeah, you can just find things that work within that if you're not getting too far.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, thanks for teaching us.
Absolutely.
I have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on Moments with Marin.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And now you're heading into worship practice.
Yep.
So for Sunday, if you're available on Sunday live, 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., we will be having some live worship here, and you can see him play. All right. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.